Okay, for you flat earthers out there trying to force us into believing that instead of a spherical shape, the world is actually on a disc shape, a flat earth. Are you stupid on purpose or what? Okay, you can have all the backup you wish. It just doesn't work out for you guys, okay? The shapes of the puzzles do not fall into place, so specifically today I'm gonna try to debunk you guys once and for all without even going very deep into your beliefs, etc. Okay, so this is just a quick video on debunking the flat earth. Okay, so the Flat Earth Society claim that the earth is flat because walking around on the planet's surface it looks and feels flat, so obviously in their mind it is flat. Satellite photos of the Earth that shows Earth to be a sphere are said to be fabrications of a round Earth conspiracy orchestrated by the NASA and other government agencies. Okay, so the Earth is a flat disk with the Arctic Circle in the center of the disk, and Antarctica is a 150-foot tall wall of ice surrounding the Earth around the rim. NASA employees guard this wall of ice to prevent people from climbing over and falling off the disk. Earth's day and night cycle is explained by positioning the Sun and Moon 3,000 miles above the plane of the Earth, and the Sun and Moon are 32 miles across. Stars are positioned in a plane 3,100 miles up. Now, like spotlights, these celestial spheres illuminate different portions of the planet in a 24-hour cycle. There's also an anti-moon that obscures the moon during lunar eclipses. Earth's gravity is only an illusion, it is made up. Objects do not accelerate downward, instead the disk of Earth accelerates upward at 9.8 meters per second squared, which is the force of gravity. The Earth is accelerated upward by a mysterious force called dark energy. No one knows what lies underneath the disk of Earth, but most flat earthers believe that it is composed only of rocks. Flat earthers believe that the photos of the globe are photoshopped. GPS devices are rigged to make airplane pilots think they are flying in a straight line around the sphere when they are actually flying in circles above the disk. The motive for this huge conspiracy is probably financial. For instance, it would cost much less to make a fake space program than to actually have one. Now, personally, I do not think all flat earthers believe this. They just want to be part of a group that goes against the general flow of the public, but for sure there are some flat earthers that actually believe in everything I just said. I'm okay with that. Well, no, I'm not okay with that. Excuse me for 1 second. The earth is round, guys, whether you believe it or not, okay? It's bubble busting time. Okay, let's first of all start off with the sun revolving around above the flat earth. Okay, so I'm no physicist, but does light actually behave in the way you say? On a disc-shaped earth, wouldn't the light be seen over a much larger surface area of the earth? Or even though the light can be dimmer at some points of the earth, for example here, you would still be able to see the sun basically, okay? There would not be much light coming from it, but you would actually still be able to see the light from the sun. So, first of all, that's a big problem for you guys. Of course, in a spotlight sun, that could solve the issues. You talk about a spotlight sun in the Flat Earth Society webpage, but what causes it to be a spotlight? You make the analogy between the sun and the light from a light tower. Now, a lighthouse's light actually shines in one direction due to a cover placed behind the light with a reflective surface guiding the light in one direction. So what kind of cover is placed above the sphere of the sun shining on the earth? What keeps the cover up there? How does it reflect downward, etc.? Okay, more questions that you need to answer. Thirdly, well, the sun could do that if the earth was dome-shaped. It would basically be the same as you see here on the picture. But if the earth is dome-shaped, why not round-shaped? If the earth is dome-shaped, then already the flat earth theory is debunked, so it cannot really work that way. So let's just go for it for now. Let's say you were right. What causes the season? Well, on the Flat Earth Society wiki page, you say the seasons are caused by the different orbits of the sun above the Earth. So during the winter periods, the sun has a different orbit than during summer periods. Well, if that is true, wouldn't the North Pole, or actually the Arctic Circle, have to be able to see the sun at any time of the year? That's very plausible because the sun's orbit doesn't change that much, so there would be certain parts of the Earth there where you could see the sun almost all year round, probably all year round, maybe even more. Meaning there should not be ice anymore in the Arctic, meaning that there should always be light in the Arctic Circle. Yeah, so that's one kind of way to debunk that. And changing the orbits has to have a lot more dark energy to push the sun into different orbits. So yeah, something else to think about. You're just creating more questions than answers, and none of them are solved with the different theories you explain on your wiki page. You know, this is getting tiring. If I have to debunk every myth you have on the Flat Earth Society wiki, we're gonna be here for the rest of time. So let's just quickly go over the rest. We saw the sun. What about the moon? A solar eclipse happens when the moon passes in front of the sun. If they both revolve around at about the same plane above the Earth, then they should pass very close to each other when we see a solar eclipse. The moon being 32 miles across and the sun being 32 miles across, that would have serious damage on the moon. Okay, and what about the shadow object, the mysterious anti-moon that causes the lunar eclipse? Why can't we look at the shadow object? I know you explain it in the Flat Earth Wiki, but if we have telescopes today with the use of filters, we can look directly at the sun. We should be able to see the shadow object as well. Why isn't there any proof of a shadow object? And since there's not any proof of a shadow object, how do you know there's a shadow object? What makes the shadow object revolve around the sun? If the sun has the gravity to have that object orbit around it, why does the sun have gravity and not the Earth and the moon? Why do we need the dark energy and the rest of the celestial bodies have their own gravity? Any geek with a couple of bucks in his pocket can buy himself a telescope the way I did. And with the use of amateur telescopes, we can look at the other celestial bodies and see their orbit actually, see their spin on their own axis, figure out for ourselves they are round. We can see the moons of Jupiter revolving around itself. What about the other planets? Why are all of the other planets round and the Earth is the only one that's flat? Where do they fit into the picture? If the Earth moves up at a speed of 9.8 meters per second squared due to dark energy, why haven't we passed by the other planets already? Why do we still see them? Why do we see the same constellations day in and day out? Shouldn't we have bypassed seeing new stars, etc.? The Cavendish experiment in the late 1700s, done by the scientist Henry Cavendish, was the first experiment to measure the force of gravity between different masses in a laboratory. That was in the late 1700s, long before NASA existed, long before the governments could conspire together, etc. Okay, so even back then we could prove gravity. Why would you try to take it away in today's world? What about the other effects that the Earth's spin and the Earth's roundness and gravity has on everyday life? For instance, the tides, which are a direct result between the moon's gravitational force, the sun's gravitational force, and the Earth's spin. The different air currents and sea currents. What about the Coriolis force? All of that can be explained by a round Earth and a spinning Earth, but a flat Earth does not explain them. What about the other celestial bodies? Where do the planets get their light from in order for us to see them? If the sun shines only on the Earth in a spotlight fashion, why can we see the other planets if they are much farther away? How does the sun illuminate them? If it's not the sun illuminating them, what illuminates them? Is it their own suns? If it's their own suns, why can't we see those suns? How do cell phones even work if there never was a space program, since you say it's an all big conspiracy? You can say that it works from tower to tower, through landlines, etc. But what about the countries that have no electricity, the places where you use actually satellite phones? Satellite phones cannot work without the use of satellites. And trust me, countries like that do exist. I've been in South America, I've been in Africa. Some places do have no cell phone coverage whatsoever, do not have power, do not have electricity, and still the satellite phone will work. The distance between the north and south poles of Earth has been calculated already. Okay, if the math was correct, it is around 20,000 kilometers. Now that can be very easily measurable, so trust me on this, even on a flat disc-shaped Earth, the distance would still be around 20,000 kilometers. Now some people have tried to put up the world record for walking across Antarctica. On a spherical Earth, it would be a walk around 3,200 kilometers, and they tried to set it in 6 months period. On a disc-shaped Earth, with a total radius of 20,000 kilometers, it's very easy to work out the circumference. That would give them a walk of 125,664 kilometers. You would not be able to walk that in 6 months' time. Now, as for the airplane pilots that instead of flying in a straight line around a spherical Earth, flying in circles about the disc-shaped Earth, I thought this conspiracy was all about saving money. Do you know how much jet fuel actually costs? They won't save a lot of money if the airplane pilots have to fly around in circles above the Earth, okay? So, guys, I'm tired of this. Stop posting this shit to my Facebook account, okay? This is getting really old. I can still go on debunking you guys for hours on end. There's the Humbar Bridge. There's the ships disappearing bottom up over the horizon. There's the ice wall. There's the NASA employees guarding the edge of Earth, etc., okay? Just stop, okay? The Earth is spherical whether you like it or not, okay? The proof is there. All of the things I talked about today can be proven with a spherical Earth, whereas one or two can be disproven with a disc-shaped Earth, but when you take all of them put together, they just don't work out. A disc-shaped Earth is not possible, okay? So just accept it. Being an adult is accepting the truth and admitting you're wrong, but being stupid is knowing the truth and still believing in lies, okay, or trying to make other people believe in it. So suck it up, guys. You were wrong. Just admit it. Get a life. Stop wasting your time with this bullshit, okay? It's not worth it. Just to make yourselves be heard, trying to become infamous is not the way to go. Trust me on that. Just remember, the truth really hurts.